Hey Hero fans, this is Todd. So I went ahead and ordered this thing from Fulfillment, and what it is, it's a way to have your parts come off cleanly and quickly from your 3D printer. Now in order to get free shipping, I did add some resin also in here as well. It's clear, and it's water rinse resin, and so far I've had really bad luck with clear water rinse resin that's supposed to be completely clear. But we'll see how this works. The blue, as you know, is my favorite. It works really well. But so many of the actual clear ones have a yellowish tint to them, even if you don't cook them under a light very long. Actually, I found the one I bought last time actually already was yellow before I even started. So let's take a look at what's in the box here. So I did get two of these, one for me and one for my friend Steve. And let's go ahead and open this up. Now for those that don't know my friend Steve, he is the one that's the artist. And he's come on my show before, done some live drawings. That was kind of a fun deal. So here it is. It says watch before installation. So I guess I'm going to watch a video first before I install this. I'm not going to let you guys watch the video at the same time, but you can use the QR code. Boop, there it is, and scan it yourself to watch the video. So if you want to pause this, go watch the video and come back, you can do that, or you can just watch me do it in a few minutes. So anyway, I'm going to go watch this, and I'll be back in a little bit. Alright, so I actually watched the video, and the first step is to sand it with 400 grit sandpaper. So I got some sandpaper right here. I got my piece right here from my printer. I just unscrewed the knob and pulled it off. Now after I get this all set up, first sand it with sandpaper. I'm going to use water so it goes nice. Then I'm going to clean it, make sure I use alcohol in the cleaning. And whenever you use alcohol cleaning, you always want to do a dry wipe afterwards. Then you install the piece, the sticky part on the first magnetic piece on there. Then you have to wait a day to 2 days, 24 to 48 hours, and then you can put the metal piece on and then go ahead and work it. So if you put the resin on too quick, it will cause the adhesion to break loose, and then it will not stick on there correctly. So I'm going to go ahead and do a quick sand on this. I got a cookie sheet below here to try to keep it as flat as possible so I don't round the edges. Just going to add a little bit of water on my 400 grit sandpaper here to do my wet sanding. And this should be pretty clean because I've done this before with this. I've sanded it in the past. But I just want to make sure there's no dried resin on there or cured resin. I like to use a cookie sheet too to keep everything inside the sheet so I'm not getting water all over the place in the sanding grit. Just a really light sand just to make sure we don't have any sharp edges and to get it really clean. Yeah, it's feeling pretty good. Now generally after sanding something like this made of aluminum, I'd want to take and put some kind of chemical on it in order to keep it from corroding. A lot of times you can use vinegar for that. That works really good, but I'm not going to do that in this case because directions didn't call it out. So I'm just going to go ahead and clean this now. Let me get my alcohol. Got my 99% alcohol. Let me get some gloves. It's funny, my newest granddaughter is staring at me making the video with her binky in her mouth and her big blue eyes. So cute. You might hear her make a noise in the background. It's always fun when the grandkids come, and it's always fun when they go. That's awful, huh? Alright, so here's my alcohol. And I'm going to go ahead and clean this off. And remember also, whenever you clean with alcohol, always do that dry wipe. Let me go ahead and get this all around first before I do my dry wipe on it. Stinks. I was planning on starting a print today. I didn't know I had to wait 24 to 48 hours before I could start using it. People are starting to want some things from me, and My printer's been out of commission now for about a week and a half, so. All right. Let me go ahead and set this cookie sheet aside. Get one more paper towel, and we'll just split it in half. I have my dry side and my wet side. And we'll just go ahead and stick on some alcohol on this wet side. Get it all nice and wet. And then before it's a chance to evaporate on its own, do a nice dry wipe on it. So we'll get rid of all the residue so that it will adhere really nicely. All right. So now we are set to put this on. Go ahead and lower the camera a little bit. All right, so the metal plate should separate from the magnet. Ooh. And here we have our 3M sticky stuff. Let's just peel this off very carefully and line this thing right up. That is looking pretty good. All right, and now I'll send myself a reminder to come back in 24 hours and put it back together and make sure I do a recalibration. Because you know this thing's gonna be off as far as this is thick right here. So I'm gonna have to recalibrate it, otherwise it's gonna try to push through the bottom of the machine. I got that on there pretty well. Look at that. That is cool. All right, I'm gonna go and stop the video and I'll see you guys in 24 hours. Well, for you it'll be instantaneous, but for me it will be tomorrow. All right, see you soon. All right, so it has been 24 hours and here's my plate right here with the magnet piece on it, ready to go. Let me go ahead and slap this on there. I need a drum right now. Get the drum roll going. Yeah, they got it laser etched or something with their logo in there. That's kind of cool. This is very sharp too. That's crazy. Looks like both sides are the same. I was looking for like a little piece of plastic on it. I guess not though. It's just right metal directly. Let's go ahead and let's see. So this is going to slide in this way. So I'm going to go ahead and stick this on this side right here. It just magnetizes right on there. Alright, now that I have it in place, I'm now going to open this up. Whoop. And let me go ahead and get closer so you guys can see what I'm doing here. Slide this in right here. And rotate it. And lock the knob in place. And that's how it's going to sit. Just like that. Alright, so now we have to calibrate it. And to calibrate this, we're going to pull out this tray first. This is the resin tray that holds the resin. And this is a cool one because it's nice and clear, and how cool is that? I'm going to put my blue resin in there soon. And I want to put this somewhere where it will be protected. So I'm going to take some paper towels out and set it somewhere safe where it will not get contaminated. Alright, now I got a piece of plain white paper. It has to fit inside here comfortably and easily, so I'm just going to take and cut off one side of this paper all the way along. Let's see if I did that right. Oh, just a little, this side's a little small on the other side. Let's see. Nope, just a little bit more. And really it just needs to be underneath the metal piece. There we go. That's going to work just fine. Alright, so now that I have that, we now need to take our Allen wrench and loosen the screws all the way around. So I'm going to go and pick this camera so you guys can see. There are 2 screws on this side, and there are 2 screws on the other side. Now when I did this, I cranked it down super tight so it would never get out of calibration again. So this is not going to be fun trying to get these loosened up. I use the old German torque method, gut and tight. Gut and tight? Oh, anyway, good and tight, you know. Anyway, let me go ahead and loosen these up. Whew. You can hear how tight those were. See my Allen wrench just slowly bend as I try to loosen them. You don't have to loosen them very much, just enough so that the metal piece will slide around. Now I could have done this outside of the printer, just on the table, but I like to do it in the printer so I can get a perspective of, and also the printer helps hold them in place. So let's just go ahead and loosen. There we go. And this side now is going to go up instead of down. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. No, don't strip out on me. Well, that is going to stink if this strips out. I think it might. I think the screw has had it. How come things just can't be easy? It worked. Hooray. That was a close call. Alright, so now I got that all loosened up. Let's make sure it can move up and down freely. And I'm just going to push it all the way up. That way it does not smash my screen. So now that that's set up, I got my paper down here. I'm now going to use the controls. Let me lower this camera so you guys can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to turn this on. And there it is. Epax. It would have that sound like Sega. Epax. Anyway, so let's go ahead and go to our tools menu. Once we're in our tools menu, we're going to choose manual. And then you're going to choose home. Now before you click home, make sure this thing is all the way up because you do not want to shatter that screen. And once you click home, it is going to start just lowering right down onto your paper. Here it comes. Moment of truth. Should have some Jeopardy music playing, right? That is not a good sign. So I'm guessing that this is thicker than the screws can move. So we're going to go to calibrate. No. So let's bring Z all the way down. We'll do it 1 millimeter at a time. You guys really can't see what I'm doing here. Let me raise this up just a little bit so you guys can see both. I should have cut my paper a little shorter so you guys can watch both the screen and my... You know what? I'm just cutting this off right here so this will work. I'll just slide that back underneath there. There we go. Now you guys can see both the screen. All right. So now I'm going to keep bringing it down. Now I can actually just push this the rest of the way down on its own. And that will be good. So now let's go ahead and go back here. So I guess my printer cannot use this. It just cannot get enough distance. That stinks pretty lady. So I took the sensor off the back, and then I went ahead and took a piece of paper and drew around it and put measurements down with some calipers to get the exact sizes. And this was my rough draft that I kind of put together on paper so you guys can see what it looks like. Alright, so I had to make that part to fit inside the printer, and basically I measured it out, and then I made this block right here you can see, and then I went ahead and added some holes, which are these cylinders here, and some cubes of where they need to be for subtracting. And then after that, I just booleaned them all, clicking this piece here, and then choosing a boolean, and then choosing each object one at a time, and apply. And then I chose another boolean. You can see the spot cut out of there now. And then I'll choose another boolean here. Boolean. I'll choose the other cube. Apply. And now you can see it's becoming more and more like my shape now. And then the hole, same thing. Choose the piece again. Choose boolean. Choose the cylinder. And then apply. And then one last one to do. Choose boolean, choose the last cylinder, and then choose my apply. And there is my part. Woo! After that, I export it out as a STL. So you just go File, Export, STL, and you choose your, I called it Spacer 2, and that's it. So after I exported it out, I then loaded it into my Cura. So Spacer 2, there it is. You can see how small it is. Burp. Just that itty bitty little piece there. And I wanted to make it 100% fill and the thickest possible, 28. And then I went ahead and did my slice and dice. And it took 6 minutes to print. And I'll show you guys the quick print here in this video. And here I am printing out the part and my artillery. Basically, it's a plastic laying printer, FDM. And there it is. There is the part. Come on, get off there. Alright, so after lots of trial and error, I made this little piece on my other 3D printer. And basically it's just a spacer that I made that fits on to this little attachment piece right here. And I made it the same shape. So it should raise it up just enough in order for it to accommodate the magnet piece that's connected to my printer. So let's go ahead and put these screws back in. Hopefully the screws are still long enough. Well, you know what? I think the screws are too short now. No. I tell you, it's not one thing, it is another. Okay, I guess I'm gonna have to go back to the drawing board and maybe go to the hardware store and get some longer screws. Yep, longer screws are going to be required. So you can kind of see how that spacer fits in there. And off to the hardware store I go. So I'm going to stop this video and come back in a little bit. Alright, I am back from the hardware store and I got some longer screws. Unfortunately, they take a different size Allen wrench, so I had to get a new tool too. But new tools are always good, right? So let's go ahead and try this one more time. Got that. And I bought some extra screws too for a friend of mine that might be doing the exact same thing to his printer. In fact, he's probably watching this video right now going, oh man, that's a lot of effort. But the cool thing is, I already got most of the things solved for you, so it will not be that big of an effort. So that is cool. Now the little piece I made took 4 minutes to print. And if you're doing the same fix, I'll put the STL file online and give you guys a link to it, just in case you want to do this same thing. There we go. Yeah, it's funny, I was at the store and they said, we're closing in 13 minutes. I had to hurry and run through there. And then luckily, somebody helped me find what I'm looking for. There we go. I got the right Allen wrench, got the screw. I am set. And I also bought some extra screws for that one that almost got stripped out earlier. So now I could put some brand new screws in there too. Okay. That would have been funny if the head of it did not fit through the side. That would be... So I got one screw started. Let's get the other one going. And you can see that, let me see if I can get a better view of that. I know it's pretty small in there. I tell you, it's so cool having a 3D printer, just making whatever you need and the moment you need it. Obviously I couldn't make the screws because I only have a plastic printer, but still making this little shim to go in there and be the same shape as the part. I took a piece of paper, I traced out the shape on a piece of paper, and then I took my calipers and measured it and then drew all the measurements in. Then took it upstairs, my piece of paper, and then just made it on Blender. All right, so there we go. That's all nice and shimmed up a little bit taller with the right screws. Let's go ahead and turn this on. Let's put this back on. Let's get my brand new screw that I got for that one that was stripped out. It's kind of cool. I could put new screws all the way around if I wanted to. Alright, so let's go and back this up so you guys can see what's going on here. Go ahead and load this back on top. Make sure those are all loose enough that it moves pretty freely. Tighten these up just a little bit so I don't have a long ways to tighten them once it's down and in position. I'm going to take this off here to get these tightened up a little bit. That way I'm not fighting it inside the machine. Okay, this is my one that was stripped out right here. I'm going to replace it so I don't have to mess with one that could potentially get stuck and not be able to remove later on. And you can just see right there that it just has a little bit of wearing on it, just enough to cause me a headache later on. So I'll take one of my brand new screws and stick it right in there. I went ahead and tightened all these down, and now I'll just give it a half turn to loosen them all. There we go. Perfect. Tighten this right up. Make sure it's shoved all the way up. Turn this thing on. I already turned it on. Let's turn it on again. And let's back this up so you guys can see both the screen. And we will go tools. Make sure this is cleared off. It is. Manual home. And let's see if it works. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. The moment of truth. I have to be prepared to hit stop just in case it does not work. My fingers on the ready. Yes. Beautiful. All right. So that is now all set like it's supposed to. Now, when this is set up, you want to take and press this down. Make sure all four corners are pressed down nice and tight. And then while all four corners are down, you are now going to tighten these up while it's pressed down. So you might see my hands in the way. I wanted to show you guys what I was doing before I did it. Okay. I'm going to start with this back corner here. So make sure they're all nice and tight. See, this is how you get your screw tips messed up. There we go. Now I'm going to go and do the opposite corner, way over here on this side. Almost like when you're doing your tires on your car, you want to make sure you do like a star type pattern, so that's why I want to switch to the other side. Make sure this is pushed down nice and tight. Alright, now I'm going to switch to this side right here. And then finally the last one, way over here. Okay, now I'm going to go back through and tighten them all, but I'm first going to check the paper. And that is nice and tight. That's what we're looking for. Yeah, that's going to be really nice. All right, so let's go ahead and do good and tight. Yeah, those are nice and tight. That should be really good. All right, now let's raise it up. Pull that out of there. And I can actually lift it up a little bit more. Put it back in its position. So that is set now. Whew, what a pain. But I'm glad it's done. So my next step now is to actually put resin in it and print from it. So let's go ahead and raise this up a little bit. Get my tray out. There we go. Crank that on down. And I have to close the curtains now, not let any sun in here, because our resin is photosensitive and it will harden. Let me go ahead and add my blue resin. Now I like to use the blue clear. It makes better prints. I'm not sure why. I've had lots of trial and error, and it just seems like the clear blue happens to be the best. And I am going to save all my screws and tools so I have them for future. I know, too much Sega. All right. Now, when you mix your resin up, you want to do a good mix on it, but you don't want to shake it vigorously, otherwise you'll get air bubbles in it, and it will cause some problems in your prints. So just kind of do a nice swoosh around. This was stored on its side anyway, but you want to avoid having that shaky jiggle sound, because then you'll end up getting air bubbles in it. Alright, let's go ahead and add this. Now, what I like to do when I add my resin, I like to press the home button, send it all the way back down, and then put my resin in. That way I know how much it can hold. Now, I'm a little worried about this tab right here, so I'm going to watch because it sticks out further than it used to, and make sure it's not scraped the tray on the inside. I'm actually going to stop it right here, right now. I'm going to pour some in so it has a little bit in there already, so it's not just dry on the plastic. Okay, now I'll put it home again. Home again, home again. That's beautiful. Alright, so now you can see inside there. And I'm just going to take and add my resin. That way I won't overflow the tray accidentally, because I know exactly how full it's going to be when it goes down. There we go. And now I always like to clean off my bottle before I start my print. Let's raise this up a little bit. Now some people will take and raise it all the way back up to the top. I don't see a need for that, because I'm just going to literally print immediately. You can see how it looks in there. There you go. And so now I am going to print my helmets. Now I can only print one at a time. It takes 6 hours each to print. So let me go ahead and you guys see the screen while I'm doing this. And that did not work very well. There we go. Alright, so back, print, and there is my helmet number 7. And I hit the print button, and there it goes. It gets busy into working it. I'm going to go ahead and close this right now. And it tells me right here it'll be done in 5 hours and 53 minutes. This is the first bottom layer being printed right now. And it holds this position for a while. So there we go. It has 1,188 layers for it to do. So it's going to take a little while. I'm going to go and turn the camera off, and tomorrow we will pull the helmet off and see how well this thing worked. Alright, you guys. For you it'll be instant, for me it'll be tomorrow. So here's a sped up version of this thing printing, and of course it's not this fast, and you can see the cool helmet being formed out of the blue resin. Kind of cool to watch it and fast. I wish it was actually this fast. You can imagine how cool that'd be if it was this fast, but it actually takes 6 hours to do. Alright, so it is the next day. It is all done printing. Let's go ahead and take it out of here and see if this new plate has worked or not. So here is the cool helmet. Dun, dun, dun. Look how cool that is. Came out really nice. Let me go ahead and pull this plate off. Alright, so my plate has been pulled off. And now for the moment of truth. We're just going to bend this plate, and if it works as it's supposed to, it should just pop right off. I can hear it snapping and cracking. Well, not quite as expected. It didn't just snap right off there like I show in the video. Ugh. And I'm getting resin all over the bottom, so it's not going to be a quick snap back together. But it did come off easier than it does normally on the other plate. So even though it took a little bit of scraping to get it off, there it is, all the supports and all the pieces. But now this is coated in resin. Let me grab a paper towel and clean this off. The idea is to get back to making the next one right away without having to do a lot of cleanup in between. That is my plan. So let's see if this can do that successfully. Now the good thing is I can see how clean this is without having to pull everything apart. So I guess in the future I could just interesting. Slide that back on there. Make sure it's all lined up. Check the inside for any debris. That's looking pretty good. Let's go and turn this on. Hit the home button. What did I tell you? Tools, manual, home. Let's get my next one started. Add in my extra resin. Oh, I'm gonna clean off that spot there. Get the next helmet started. And there we go. Next one started. 6 hours, I'll change it again when I get 8 of those stacked up. I'll then take all 8 of them and clean them all up at the same time. So cool, cool, cool. So I guess that was a little faster process than having to scrape it all off like I normally do. So that was cool. You can see it in there doing its magic, making the next helmet. And eventually, like I said, once I get 8 of them all printed, 6 hours each, I could do about 3 a day. Then I'll start cleaning them up and getting them ready. Alright, that is it. I eventually got the thing to work. Check out the video, rewind, and see how all the work. Oh, hold on a second. I did make a second one for my friend Steve. There you go. I put on a nice another one for him to use, so that way he'll be able to use it for his little step up too. And I got some extra screws for him too, so he can actually do the exact same setup on his machine. Alright, so that is it. Thanks for watching, you guys. Like, subscribe, and I will see you next video. Bye now.